Hello, and welcome to the Identity Paradox Inside the Racial Pharmacon, a podcast examining anti-racist theories and practices aimed at dismantling destructive identitarian politics and ideologies, both in the US and abroad. Please note that discussions deal with very difficult subject matter, so every episode comes with a general content warning.
And I'm your host, Carlos Gallego, Associate Professor of English, as well as both Distinguished Teaching Professor in the Humanities here at St. Olaf College. This podcast is part of the programming brought to you by the Bolt Chair Endowment, so special thanks to the Bolt family for making this programming possible. If you enjoyed today's podcast, make sure to subscribe for future episodes. And now, the show. All right, hello, welcome to another episode of the Identity Paradox. Sorry about that. We're coming to you from downtown Minneapolis. I'm your host, Carlos Gallego. If I seem a little off today, it is because I'm not feeling well, but I am very, very happy to have a special guest with me today who's equally tired, but for different reasons that are much more politically viable than whatever the hell I'm going through right now. So, special guest today is another member from the Revolutionary Blackout Network. How do you want to, I forgot to ask you this, Rome, before I started, we started chatting. Rome, is that cool?
Rome, Unholy, Uncle Grandpa, whatever the
fuck. Uncle Grandpa, no, Uncle Drew, no, it's all good. We'll go with Rome. I dig Rome. So is this Unholy Rome on Twitter? If you want to follow him, it's literally at Unholy Rome, and the E on Rome is the number 3, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So and we'll put that up on the YouTube episode, whatever. I don't know what we call those things on YouTube or whatever, but we'll put that information up there. But yeah, I wanted to invite Rome, and he just got back from doing a tour. And I'm going to share the screen here for a sec to let people know the kind of work that you've been doing. And if I'm not mistaken, rather, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rome, this is what you're dedicated to primarily at the moment, right? The Tour for the Poor?
Oh, yes.
Can you speak a little bit about that so that I don't speak on your behalf? This is your program.
Oh, yeah. Tour for the Poor is basically, sniffing out communities that really need the help and whatnot. And, from working class people to homeless people, children, we trying to touch all bases and try to be there for the people.
So you basically travel to different cities that you feel are in need of some kind of mutual aid, and you are the one that provides it directly.
Yeah, and not only that, we put spotlights on these communities so other people would probably want to join, even if they don't do it on the same level as we do. They would know that this is going on in their backyard, in their towns, or not too far away from them. If I could travel from Detroit to fuck Egypt to feed your people, you can too.
So basically what you're saying is not only are you doing the direct action as a form of raising awareness to the local communities that they have a problem they may not be aware of in their own backyards.
Yes.
All right. Excellent work. And just to highlight it a bit, you just got back from Detroit yesterday, right? Last night?
Yeah. I'm still in Michigan, but I just left. I just got done with the tour in Detroit. That tour was a little longer than what I usually do because it's my home, but and I was also shooting my documentation right, Brian TV.
Yeah, and I do want to get to that a little bit later, but I just want to show some pictures from the Tour for the Poor in Detroit. This is you, right? And the reason why you're dressed all fly is because you were being filmed that day also, right?
Oh, yeah. I just dress like that.
Fair enough. My bad. Some of us have fashionable choices when we go shopping, and some of us just don't know what the hell we're doing, but dig the style. So that's just one picture. I just want to share a couple of other pictures with people of what you were doing there, and the fact that you were distributing basically what a lot of us would consider just basic necessities. And I'll see a lot of these are, diapers. I see a lot of stuff for kids. I love her look is like, we shouldn't need this, but we're here because we do regardless. That is like the future activist that's saying like, it shouldn't be Rome doing this. It should be the taxpaying dollars that we put into our government that returns that in some form or other. So just wanted to upload these. And also highlight the fact that, sorry, just a couple more pictures. That there were a lot of families there that showed up. It seems like, and you did provide.
Great turnout. It was probably like 100 and some people all together. Some people came and went. All together, it was a good turnout. We gave away most of the stuff. I gave away 9,000 something diapers that day.
Wow.
It was good.
Wow. And I had up here, I think I must have lost it, but I had a video of you doing the prep in your own garage, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's like you basically packing the stuff, showing people that all the contributions that people might give to what you're doing go directly towards this. You stock the U-Haul, and primarily it's like baby wipes, diapers, things that you assume people that are suffering these basic necessities are in need of, right?
Oh yeah. Everything is video recorded. I'm open with my donations and just about, well, I try to be. If I don't catch you today, I'll catch you in the morning when I see my other phone. But I'm open with everything. I try to make everybody feel like they are a part of this as much as possible. Even if they aren't getting on the ground with me, they putting in their money and whatnot.
No, and I've seen a lot of that, and just to vouch for what Rome just said, I see a lot of that on Twitter. He is very attentive to people who donate to the cause, whether it's $10, $20, whatever they can afford. He's always thanking them personally because he understands that money is going to help, go to the cause. So again, just want to share your so that people are familiar.
That's my best friend.
Oh, you're good. And this is your Twitter page, correct? Just to confirm, yes. People. Yeah. So people can find you at, again, Unholy Rome 3, and they can get more information on your Twitter page regarding the Tour for the Poor and where they could donate money for the cause. True?
Yep. You can donate Cash App, Tour for the Poor, Venmo, Tour for the Poor, and I believe PayPal is Unholy Rome 6.
Yes.
I'm down there out here every day, any day I can. If I don't have the kids, if I have the kids and they want to go out and help some people, then I go out with the kids. My children was with me for the tour in Detroit. It was with me for the tour in Ohio. I had a couple of tours in Ohio. They was with me there. So, if I can make it out there, I'm going to make it out there. If I feel like, if I see some people that need help and I feel like it'd be a good time to actually, start a fundraiser or whatnot, I'll do it right then and there. Sometimes I'll do something spontaneous just to see if the people is actually there for the people or not. Like I just did one, I want to say almost 2 weeks ago when I sent a group of homeless people, on Gratiot. It's one of the main streets in Detroit on the east side. And I was just putting a fundraiser out there for that day, for like that hour. I was like, I need about $400 to do this, blah, blah. We did a piece around, bought some pop, water, and napkins, et cetera, and sat there and, and it worked, people is actually there. So I love it more than anything,
No, I'm laughing because that's amazing. I'm sitting here thinking like you're like a walking institution that can pop up at any given place at any given time as an individual. You're like a walking institution, and if you see a problem, you don't go tweet about it, you don't take a picture and then raise awareness about it. You interrupt the problem as it is emerging and try to do something about it in the moment.
I mean, because I can sit here and complain all day. I live in Detroit, man. Like I can sit here and just complain about everything that's going on, from us being underfunded in our education systems to whatever the fuck. And if I don't like it, then like people always told me, even the OG said, if you don't like something, you got to do it yourself. If you want the job done right, you got to do it yourself. And I always looked at it like I would never, leave it up to liberals to feed my people, because then they're gonna lead them to these parties or anything like that. Like I don't even push communism as much as you would think, as much as you think I would on the ground, like when I'm first meeting with people. But it's the second, third time around that I come around is when I really start talking.
I see what you're saying. So there is a theory informing your practices. You just don't push it or force it on people as soon as you meet them, because you don't want to come across too strongly as trying to like indoctrinate, recruit, convert, or any of that kind of stuff. First, you're gonna show them what you're about, and then if they start asking questions, because I saw someone in your tweets today about talking about to some older folks about your documentary and what you're doing, and it's like, oh, is it one of these like what Biden just tweeted about the shooting in Buffalo? It's like, it's a time for us to come together and unify as a nation and all this. It's like they just shot up purposefully a supermarket full of black people, just like they shot up the El Paso Walmart full of Mexicans because they're targeting specific bodies, and you want us to somehow unify? Can't you tell there's a problem right now regarding unity?
They only want us to unify so they can get us closer to their white supremacists that the FBI and the CIA have been creating for generations now. They have been putting batteries in these mentally ill men backs for generations now, and if they can't have them focused enough to sit in their militaries or armies, they will create another mass shooter or another domestic terrorist.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you. I mean, these are manufactured individuals. These are young people that are indoctrinated into specific ideology.
We all are indoctrinated. We all are indoctrinated and taught the way we're, even if it is against the government, it all goes hand in hand for the government. And, you know, they need certain types of balances on these plays. So, yeah, we all are indoctrinated. We all are propagandized in certain ways, or still conservative in some ways, even if it isn't in a political sense. Like I'm still conservative with music. I can't open up to new music, which can be dangerous in the long run. So
fair enough. But I would say, and I agree, we're all indoctrinated, but for some of us we're all indoctrinated into some kind of status quo, at least we're supposed to be. And I think education is a big part of that. But some of us live a certain kind of lived experience that says like, this doesn't, what you're teaching me doesn't match what I'm living in my home, in my neighborhood, in my city, or the region of my city, and so we start to resist that indoctrination, even at a young level. And that's how you become like a potential delinquent or detention kind of kid, that kind of stuff. Because you're already pushing back, right?
Breaking the rules, yeah.
That's right, you're already breaking the rules. So I see you in many ways breaking rules by doing the Tour for the Poor, because if I remember correctly, let's be honest, when you were in Boston and you were with Sabby Sabs, shout out to Sabby, RBN member also, on the ground, citizen journalist. And she wasn't there, I don't think, on the ground, but you ended up, I think, having dinner with Dr. Jill Stein and Sabby later on that day. But you encountered some problems with some local Boston people and maybe some Boston law enforcement about the fact that you were, what happened there?
It was just the police. They was mad that we was handing out tents and whatnot. But see, what's so crazy is it was like the police at first, the black officer was cool. You know, I went across the street to the gas station. I'm trying to buy some gloves, and they only had like a couple of them. They gave it to me, and I said, you know, I'm trying to feed the homeless some pizza and whatnot. And so he gave me 1 or 2 gloves, and then the cop was like, "Oh, I got a box back here, blah blah." The cop gave me a handful of gloves. Hold on 1 second.
No, you're good. And I'm just and just to remind you, refresh your memory, I'm thinking about that one. They got it on somehow. They got it on one clip, but it's that one moment where you're actually responding to someone who's like walking by and telling them like that you shouldn't be passing out tents or something like that. I don't know if you remember that specific moment.
You might be getting that one mixed up with California, because I cussed out somebody in California also on Skid Row.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like, no matter where you go, you get that kind of confrontation, which again brings me back to the point, is like you are one of those people that invites that from the other side, because you're out there helping, trying to address the problems. And some people actually take issue with that. And I just wanted you to speak briefly about either one of those encounters, because I want to talk about the fact that you are taking a risk, because I'm heading towards that question of risk. Yeah.
They tried to lock me up. They was asking like, well, let me rewind, because this is the one in Boston. So after he gave me the gloves and whatnot, we all met up, everybody meeting up, we go down the street and set up. Next thing you know, I guess the cops see tents starting to pop up. They're like, oh, well, put 1 and 2 together. These people down the street handing out shit, and tents starting to pop up after we just did a sweat. After we just swept these tents.
Yeah.
So 2 white cops parked in front of us, and they was just sitting there, I guess, trying to watch and see if we was handing out tents or setting them up for the people and whatnot. But by this time, the tents was already gone. Like that was hot commodity. Like them things were already,
because it just got taken by the cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by the time we even got the pizza ready, the tents were already gone. That's how fast they left. And so the two white cops in an SUV pulled up, parked on the other side from us. And I'm walking back from down the street from helping some more people and whatnot. The people who want to come down, I direct them towards the pizza and the food, clothes, whatnot. And I see the police. I'm like, what the fuck? And then Sabi like, you see the police gonna park down here, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so what the fuck y'all want? Because at first, I thought they were just gonna sit there for like a minute or two, you know, we passing out food, and I look up again, I'm like, okay, now what the fuck y'all want?
I saw that one. Yeah, that's one of the ones I'm talking about. Because you start asking, like, what do you want? We don't need you here.
That's when y'all start seeing it. That's when they started getting a film. Like, okay, well, I'm like, because, bro, I'm like, go do your job. Go find a better job if you can't do something better than this.
Go find a crime to stop.
So I had a conversation with the black cop while the other cops was investigating. He was basically detaining me, but he wasn't saying it. You know what I'm saying? So every time I try to leave, I didn't ask, am I free to go? I just say, all right, I'm out.
Right.
Then he like, oh, hold on 1 minute. I'm just trying to say, man, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, man, let me give you 5 more minutes because I know the people ain't about to snitch me out.
Right.
Because the cops already pointing at motherfuckers and trying to ask who you got the tents from. They like,
they're just here. Just pick them up.
Yeah. So we had that solidarity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Me and Sabi and the volunteers for Tour for the Poor, we had solidarity with the homies. They ain't snitch us out. So he telling me the problems of having tents in the city and whatnot. And I'm like, you know, I'm just like, man, you know, I don't give a fuck about this shit. And then Sabi walking up, she like, I think they trying to get you. I'm like, I know, you know what I'm saying? They came from Malcolm, they came from Fred. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna do it. And your powers or the powers above you ain't gonna stop me because my work and my words will live forever. So
I remember I saw the moment where Sabi's like, please, Rome, calm down. It's like, fuck that shit. And she's like, all right, I ain't gonna get in the way. But so all right, so that's a great. So 3 things I just want to establish for viewers who may not be familiar. A, you are the Tour for the Poor. It's like it's a one-man show with a lot of help from people that rally around you, whether it's people that donate to the cause, people that are out there as volunteers, people that donate supplies, people like Sabi that are actually out there promoting the cause and helping out and doing that kind of stuff directly. So you are engaging in what a lot of people would call very necessary mutual aid. You're a walking institution that helps out impoverished communities with basic necessities that you can provide at whatever level you can do in terms of fundraising. And 3, a lot of the times when you show up to a city and start doing this kind of stuff, law enforcement tends to be unhappy with your presence and the activities you're engaged in. Right? Is that a good summary?
Because I be talking about communism, you know what I'm saying? Like dealing with certain people, like around certain people, I do talk about communism, but if I'm helping them, I'm not talking about it. I'm more living it, I should say. And any whiff of socialism or communism or, you know what I'm saying, liberation, it pisses off cops because if we was to actually focus on these things, we was to actually fight poverty and whatnot, they wouldn't have a job.
Absolutely, because they're out there protecting property, right? And what you're doing is saying, like, I'm giving some property to people who don't have any. Yeah. So you're supposed to buy this shit. I'm giving it away, and I'm allowing them to sleep at least one more night wherever they can find a space. And your job is to make sure that they don't have a space, so that all these stores and whatever's around them have that nice look to them that invites consumers. So
yeah, this goes back to what I always say, like Tour for the Poor. It's a good you know what I'm saying? It's a good cover for building a militia and finding strongholds in certain cities and whatnot.
I love it.
That's really willing to put an end to capitalism.
I love it. I love it. So just one quick question then. It seems like you start to talk theory and politics when people start asking you, why are you doing this? Only then is it when you start to tell the story of communism, for example.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. They always ask me, are you with a church? Are you with some organ? I'm like, well, now I'm with the organ. Now that Torf for Poor is basically
LLC?
LLC, then we got our nonprofit now. So
excellent work. Congratulations, bro.
Yeah, thank you, man. That's all Sebastian and my assistant Anita work. I didn't.
Shout out to them. Yeah. Excellent.
But yeah, now that we incorporate, I say, Torf for the Poor, and we just out here pushing the word of Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, pushing socialism, and I say blah blah blah. And once, depending on what area you are in, you might want to use different leaders and whatnot. You might want to use a white leader like Marxists and whatnot. Depending on their emotional strings or their emotional ties to their communities or whatnot. So you can always try to throw in a figure that they are familiar with, so they can like, hold on, like, if Fred Hampton was a socialist, like, yeah, like, here you go right here.
Yeah. And what I like about your approach is that, for you, poverty has no color. I mean, yes, some bodies are more impoverished than others, but at the end of the day, there is no race that is immune from poverty.
I need an army, and I'm not going to build an army with just, like, if I was to build an army with just Black people, then that'll be me putting Black people on the front lines. Yeah. So you got to be careful with your choices and what you are doing and who you are connecting with and whatnot. So this is open. This is a big tent. Even though a lot of people won't be higher ranked as other motherfuckers. That's any fucking army, any movement, organization. But we're gonna move as one. We're going to make sure that everybody is informed enough on our operations, or what's the next move, whether we're helping somebody or we are striking or protesting against a company or organization.
All right, so excellent segue, because I like the philosophy you have around it. It seems very horizontal in terms of leadership, decision making, stuff like that. But there is no doubt that you're one of the central figures, and they're going to put a face on the poster. It'll more than likely be yours for the time being. You never know. You might get usurped by one of your homies. But I just want to highlight this this quote that's on your Twitter account, because I really want to examine this and talk about this. When a man is denied the right to live the life he believes in, he has no choice but to become an outlaw. And we can update that, right? When a person,
Nelson Mandela.
And we can just update the gender part, right? A person, because the man, woman, doesn't matter. When a human being is denied the right to live the life they believe in, they have no choice but to become an outlaw. So you see your work in many ways as being as existing outside of the state, correct? Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you see that work as already in and of itself revolutionary.
Oh yeah. And like anything that the government has been fighting against, like we don't need a history teacher to tell us these things, that we have been bombing and raping communist and socialist countries and whatnot, or bullying them with our nukes. This is just what it is, and anything that you are doing that America don't like is revolutionary.
Yeah. I mean, we're back in Mogadishu, right? And I'm afraid we're back there because of the elections that just took place. So yeah, it's an important conversation. So what I wanted to ask is, like, since you're on the work, your boots on the ground doing the work, what do you perceive to be the next stage in this? Because I see this as a spectrum, right? And you're moving towards revolutionary action in a way that harkens back to like the 1960s model. Like, we need to pay attention to class. We need to start unifying different people that all suffer the same material conditions of impoverished conditions of existence, rally them, as you said, build an army. And you're already going to get that kind of, negative attention from some people. You're going to get the trolls on social media. You might get the cops that come and check you out in Boston to see what the hell it is you're doing. And now you probably more than likely know that you're probably on they probably got a file on you somewhere, national security, agency just keeping track of this so-called Rome guy and, making sure that he doesn't raise too much trouble. Nevertheless, people are still following you. RBN keeps growing and you're getting a lot of attention because I think people are fed up with, and I go back to that quote, I think people are fed up that they're not being allowed to live the life that they want to live within this state. So have you thought about that? Have you imagined that? Because I don't know if you're familiar with the Winston Smith murder that happened here in Minneapolis. Winston Bowie Smith, who the feds shot after he was at a restaurant on a date. He went out and they got him in a parking lot, and it was a federal task force. One of the last videos he uploaded was regarding the George Floyd protest, and he was just saying like, it's time to elevate this. It's time to escalate this because y'all keep showing up at these protests saying, hands up, don't shoot, and it's like that's not gonna recruit other people that are already committed to working outside the state, and those people are called criminals, right? I mean, if you engage in something, during Jim Crow era, if you engage in something like an interracial marriage, you were by definition a criminal. So being a criminal is something that the state has a disdain for, but a criminal can also be an ethical position, which is why culture throughout the ages in all parts of the world and every given point in history has always had that heroic criminal a la Robin Hood who takes from the rich and gives for the poor, or Jesus. And you're an atheist, I'm an atheist, ex-recovering Catholic. But nevertheless, they go after you, right? They make an example out of you. And these are people, again, that are working outside the state. So do you see something like Tour for the Poor, as you're saying, just as basically dropping those seeds in these cities, in these communities about what rebranding, if you will, what it means to be socialist, communist, or even thinking outside of the capitalist system?
I mean, Tour for the Poor is basically going to get turned into, not going to get turned into, it's going to be, the Care Party is Tour for the Poor is going to get dropped into the Care Party. I'm making a party right now. Communists Accelerating Revolution and Emancipation.
Oh,
so
this
is my whole goal.
You want to elaborate a little bit on that? I'm very interested. First time I've heard about it.
I'm actually doing. Let me text my mama and tell her I'm on the show.
Yeah, no problem. That sounds really exciting, man. Third party that is being started by people who have been promoting a third party for a while.
And it's not really a third party. It's just going to be called a party, so we won't really.
Gotcha.
We won't get into too much trouble if we was to have people with guns. We was funding people, militias and stuff like that, because Democrats, Republicans, they do the same thing under their party. So
security forces, provide security.
It will be legal for us to actually move like an actual army and whatnot. But the Care Party will allow people to run locally, but you won't be able to run for president. You won't be able to run for Senate, anything like that. But we will keep things locally and try to push you as much as we can. But as far as right now, we are focusing boots on the ground. We are trying to get reconnected with our communities. We can't promise them anything, in this system. We have to work from outside the system. So even if we were full-blown communists and somehow got a seat in the Senate, somehow got a seat in the House, you still have to work within those lines of corporate fascism. So we can't just, like always tell people, we can't send our best swimmers out there in a swamp with man-eating alligators and crocodiles. That doesn't happen. So what we are going to do is form community-based parties, tenant unions, and unions under this party. That way we have actual power from city to city throughout this country.
That's that.
Actually move how we want against this government. So if we had a tenant union that was about 750,000 people, from Michigan to Arizona, whatever, we can move strong. We can move in numbers. We can actually get people to come out and protest against this and that or whatever, and be full-blown communists about it, and really get people eyes open, like, damn, these communists are fighting for, housing and education, this and that, blah, blah. Well, fuck, nigga, sign me up. Because I'm tired of these capitalists, keeping us on the string or keeping us on this hamster wheel or this infinite loop of identity politics, making me think that I have a choice in anything, knowing that these parties are corporations, which we know how corporations actually work. And if you actually had a job in a corporation, you should know how corporations work. You don't get voted into damn near anything unless you are on the board, but you don't get voted into anything. And the people who do make it to those spots to actually be able to get those votes or get on the ballot, they are there for a reason. And you should think twice before you even trust them, because they can either put a target on your back or they got a target on theirs. So.
Right. So in many ways, what I hear you saying is that you don't trust electoral politics. Neither do I. So you're working outside of electoral politics, but emphasizing the local where you can actually have some influence, some power, because hopefully those communities already are familiar with the work you're doing and what you represent and the kind of not only like assistance and attention that you're paying to those communities, but the nurturing and caregiving that you're willing to provide those communities so they can become self-reliant and hopefully get out of the holes that they've been put into by the system.
Like if we had a system in between each other neighborhoods and whatnot. Let's say if we had some type of piggy bank, it's 4 blocks wide, 4 blocks long. All of us putting money into this piggy bank, we can call them dues. We would have enough money to help certain families. You know what I'm saying? When they face an eviction or facing a water shutoff notice or whatever it is. And it's going to take a minute to gather up that type of money, but once we have it, we can actually build as a community and not only use that money for bills to pay back the man. We can actually use that money to pay off these houses that these people have been renting for 20-some years, or pay for a lawyer to actually get these houses for these renters who have been renting for 20 years, knowing that it's illegal.
So you're basically establishing a working class organizations that hopefully is nationwide and encompasses all different types of things, from housing to healthcare to better job situations, whether wages or hours or working conditions or anything, or helping people learn how to organize from the ground up at the local level, so that maybe that local can connect to a nearby other local organization and eventually start growing into a nationwide network of working class people helping working class people outside of the system, outside of the established political parties.
We don't need them. We make these people who they are today. And, if people stop looking at the money and start looking at people as who they are, is a regular fucking human, we would have no problem with taking these people over, or taking back our power, or taking back what's ours, even if it isn't power, even if it is something petty. If you look at man equally, if you take the time to look at man equally, then you wouldn't fear him at all. If you cut off his bank account, if you cut off his Ferraris and his fast cars, his mansion, and you just look at him one-on-one, he's just a man, they're just a woman, they're human, and it can be dealt with.
Wow. All right. I love it. Because that brings me to the question of risk, right? And this is what someone, specifically Huey P. Newton, wrote about in his piece on revolutionary suicide and the concept of that. And just for people who aren't familiar with that, just to break it down very quickly and simply, there's for Huey P. Newton, he read while he was in solitary confinement, waiting his trial, some of the inmates slipped him in an Ebony magazine that had a whole story on suicide among Black males, I think ages like 18 to 35, and that basically at that moment in history had surpassed suicides among white people, and it really impacted him. So he started thinking of why, and the article talks about the environmental factors that influence specifically African-American communities, people that lived in impoverished conditions, immigrant communities, et cetera, into a psychology of despair, where they end up committing suicide due to the environmental pressure as opposed to some kind of self-hatred. They are indoctrinated and conditioned to hate themselves to the point of taking their own lives. And Huey revised that and talked about revolutionary suicide, where it's like, I'm not looking to die, but I've accepted the possibility that I may be murdered as a consequence of my commitment to a higher cause, which in this case is called a revolution.
Yeah, and see, just like how we are talking about Huey right now, he never died. You know, I always remind people, you know, the revolution, you will never die in the revolution, even if you are on the other side, as of Hitler or any of our enemies that was in certain revolutions. You will never die. Your word will be solidified in stone. It's all about what you are living, dying, and fighting for. So, you know, as far as revolutionary suicide, that's how a lot of us Black leaders have to be, because we have to push it as far as it can, you know, as far as it can go. And a lot of people that are comfortable, they call me edgy. They call me edgy because I say, hey, you know, off politicians and whatever. Like, no, that's not edgy. I'm dead ass serious.
Yeah.
And I have to be like this because I don't want my word in my fight to be whitewashed. You know, if I was just be sitting here giving out food and giving out clothing and whatnot without saying that I'm a communist or without pushing communism openly, they would say that they would share me. They would say that I wasn't a Marxist. They you know, just how they do Martin Luther King. And one thing I don't want is my word whitewashed and beat down and drugged through the mud. And like, here's what he really wanted. No, I wanted you dead.
And I noticed that because sometimes when you live stream, you got Tupac behind you, and I think that's a very interesting imagery, because at the end of the day, it's like you're committed to a specific type of lifestyle and political philosophy that, you know, because Huey quotes Che Guevara in that essay and saying, like, look, the revolutionary's reality is death. The dream is victory. Every revolutionary goes into the fight knowing they're the underdog and will probably die, which is why people talk about revolutionary in my lifetime. I may not see the end result of this, but I'm going to participate while I'm alive.
You won't see the fruits of your labor. As a real revolutionary, you won't see the fruits of your labor. You plant your seeds and you get the fuck on. You don't live long. If you do, then you won't live that happy, I should say. Yeah. You won't be that happy. You won't be in the same town that you had came from or whatnot. But it's just about that time, and we got to start taking these risks to actually, you know, show people that there are people out there that want to make their change, not just white supremacists ready to shoot up a fucking grocery store.
And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Like, it seems like that side is very comfortable already enacting their revolutionary suicide, right? It seems like
the government is with them. They back them. They actually fund them and teach them one-on-one sometimes. They even carry out certain things, because America's whole thing is white supremacy, world domination. The U.S., I should say, it's about white domination all over the world. And if you look at NATO, you can see that. You look at the FBI, you can see that. You look at what the CIA have done, you can see that they have been expanding and using this iron fist to crush so many communities and countries all over this world. And to this day, we still haven't seen these countries that they have bombed and raped come back from what they were. And even not even during the 60s or 80s, like, you know, during the 2010s, when Obama and Hillary Clinton started slave trade in Libya. You know, Libya had some of the finest water, and they had some of the best water in the world next to Detroit, Michigan. And before Detroit, Michigan, that's crazy. But now, look what happened. Their people are slaves, you know, and they will never get that type of infrastructure back with America going with their head.
So do you see, Rome, the possibility of, and I hear what you're saying, like you don't have to go that far back to the 60s, but one of the things that did jump out to me every time I go back and study that decade and study what they were thinking, and they seemed like they were on the cusp, right? They seemed like they were really close, and in Cuba, they did achieve some stuff. Do you think that we're getting close again to an international type of coalition building among working class? Because it seems like the global South is unifying right now, especially around what's going on with NATO and Europe.
I mean, yes, if we was we can use our propaganda in the right way, as far as us using our networks, from yours to RBNs to whoever's. We have to make sure that we connect our people. We have to make sure we tell our people to get on the ground. And when they get on the ground, we have to have people there to meet them halfway. So we all have to use our parts. And yes, I do feel like this is a time, but no, I don't feel like we are connecting as much as we should.
Okay.
As fast as we should. I feel like people are connecting, but they are leaving. They are in echo chambers.
Yeah.
Echo chambers. So
yeah,
you have to get out there to break through certain echo chambers from Black activists to white conservatives to white activists to whatever, and we need a mole. We need a mole in every group to try to trick their minds into fighting for socialism and communism all over, because they can be sitting here having a meeting like, yeah, these immigrants taking our blah, blah. Like, yeah, man. And not only that, this fucking politician just signed this bill. So like, before we even go, let's get him, and then let's let these immigrants know that you can't just blah, blah, right? So it's all about how we use our propaganda to try to get the people to fight for socialism overall, because a lot of these people don't even need to know what type of system that they are actually living under. A lot of these people don't know or don't even care for the fact. They just want better, right? And socialism can bring them that. So once we actually do take over and have a successful revolution and whatnot, we can give these people housing, drinkable water, et cetera, just the basics. And once these capitalists actually come back from whatever the fuck country they didn't kept their money in and have enough money to put propaganda in our airwaves, then we're gonna see a fight back from the people to say, hold on, we're communists. This is so. Like my president is a socialist, is a communist. Well, fuck yeah. I mean, I didn't know, but he gave me this house. He gave me this, you know what I'm saying? He gave me, like, we got walkable cities now, trains and public transportation. I'm like, shit, this is communism. Then why would I want what I had fucking 20 years ago when these capitalists took over?
So what you're saying is basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I get the sense that this is what you hear on the ground. Like, if my life gets better for me and my own and for those people I care about, they don't care what you call it. They don't care what you call it.
Oh, what do people say about your Soviet Union flag? Nothing.
I'm going to show that in a little bit.
They ask me how much time it's going to take for the hot dogs to be done. They hungry. They don't give a fuck.
So ideology at that moment is the last thing they need. They want you improve people's lives, their conditions of existence. And they did this in Cuba, right? And the Zapatistas are doing this in Mexico. You go, you liberate people, you improve their lives, and then you let them know, like, this is who we are, this is what we represent. We can get out if you want us out. We don't have to stay here. But if you do, this is what we're all about, and this is how we can help you. And most people choose, yeah, please stay. Because what used to be here just ain't it, and you guys are actually care about
it. Like, shit, I can go to the doctor.
Exactly. All right, excellent. So in terms of international coalition building and that kind of stuff, to just bring it back to the US scene, do you see, because I see a lot of infighting right now among, specifically along the lines of what you're talking about, like people are more interested in having these echo chamber theoretical debates about what is communism and what is Marxist-Leninism and what is anarchism. And
they need to get on the ground more. If they want to argue about what what it is, if they were just actually living it, they'll just look back and be like, all you niggas is wrong. You know what I'm saying? And not to say that Marxist or Lenin was wrong, but we can't apply everything that they have preached and taught us to today.
Yeah.
So once you hit the ground, you're gonna try that shit on the ground. It don't work.
No, you're right.
It don't work. And a lot of our leaders want to prepare for New York police departments getting billions of dollars a year. They want to prepare for these type of monsters that we are facing today.
Yeah.
And their literature doesn't prepare us for the monsters that we are facing today. So once you get on the ground, and like, I'm not telling you to drop Marxists. I'm not telling you that. I'm just telling you to add on, to take what they have taught you, actually learn from it, and add on to it. So once you get on the ground, you're going to see, okay, well, he gave me the basics to how to do this, but I see that I'm going to have to update the teaching, the talking, and the walking.
Yeah.
You know, so all these people who sitting here arguing about what it is and what it ain't none of them probably doing it.
Yeah. No, I hear that.
Enough time to sit here and argue about, you know what I'm saying? What is? Fuck that. Just show me more than anything.
So a good way to rephrase this is that if you want to talk about the theory and the science behind what it is we're doing, the laboratory's on the fucking streets. Go to the laboratory, do your experiments, and see what you want to call it after that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they weren't prepared for more than half of the nation being on fucking drugs. You know? Right. You know, it's so much shit that we have to update. So much shit that we have to update. And this is why I always tell people, if you want a leader, become the leader, because we're going to have to write our own history. We're going to have to write our own history books. When these people are gone, we're going to have to tell the truth about George Washington to, you know what I'm saying? To whoever. We're going to have to write our own history books. We might be in the history books, but what do the history books say about you?
That's a great point. It's action. It's what you do. It's not what you say. People don't write books.
They don't remember you. Like Stephen King, even Stephen King, he's a good author for these days. But once those books are burned and it's new technology, we're not going to, but they're going to remember the people who liberated human lives. You know what I'm saying? That's when you are remembered, not because of your hot takes or your hot tweets, not because of your opinion pieces on Wall Street, whatever. It's the same fucking thing.
It is. No, you're right.
Yeah.
So, so you're talking about risk, right? People remember those that took those risks, and that, like, the real risk, the existential risk, like your life could be at stake because you're trying to represent a cause. And we'll just go back to the classic global example, and I mean global in the sense that this is imposed on people, not that the planet believes in it, but you know, Jesus died on a cross because the guy was too communist for the moment, and he was all about redistributing bread and fish and wine and all this kind of stuff, and like, you don't sell stuff on Sundays and whatever, right? So in many ways, that's what happens to you. That's a classic story. If you're a good person, the world is going to kill you. But then, you know, religion comes in and talks about the afterlife and you'll be saved. And I know that you're an atheist, but I heard you say something really interesting, is that they don't need the opium of religion anymore. There's actual opium on the streets, or versions of that. And Marx didn't take that into account in terms of working class consciousness. Like, you got to wake these people, literally wake them up from their drug stupor just to get them to listen to what you're saying. So
that's why I distribute clean needles, you know, whatever, you know, I help them get whatever.
You don't judge. So you don't judge.
That they are clean condoms, et cetera, et cetera. Like right now, I'm looking to set up a tent clinic up in Boston on certain streets to make sure that people have condoms, make sure they have the clean needles, make sure they have blankets, somebody to talk to once they are sober, and get them in a communist mindset, so we can talk about why drugs are actually in the city and how it actually reached your household.
That'd be fantastic. Have a 10-step socialist program rather than a 10-step Christian program to sobriety.
Ain't no higher, no, you ain't got to believe in none of that shit. Believe in your damn self.
People have been praying for centuries and things still don't change. So
I've been on drugs, and you can't tell me that. And I was an atheist when I was on drugs. I was an atheist when I got off of drugs. So you can't tell me that, you know, I have to believe in some higher being to let it go. No, you have to let go of the higher belief of the socialism is going to save you. You got to give up that belief in trickle down economics and all this bullshit. Just give it up and realize that your whole life is a fucking lie. And once you realize that, all these drugs become, you see the reality in them. You know what I'm saying? It started to disgust you. You know what I'm saying? From the crack that they have been putting in our in our neighborhoods, to the lean, the pills, and there is the reason why it is so popular in Black communities. They are pushing it in our communities. If they didn't want it in our airlines, it wouldn't be on our airlines. Just like they don't have my Black ass on Fox News or MSNBC talking about communism.
But they got Chris to talk about unionizing, so they're taking baby steps towards that direction.
Yeah, they always throw something in there to make it look like they're doing something because they're trying to use that man for their votes. But that shit ain't gonna work.
Yeah, I don't think it will. And it's interesting because Tucker's now on the news because of the shooting that took place in Buffalo. And some people are saying it's not Tucker's fault. And I agree, it's not like him, but he's a symptom of a larger problem. Like this guy's a talking head, and you cannot separate what. And my point is, you can't separate what's happening in Ukraine to what happened in Buffalo because there's a connection there, and it's white supremacy, like it or not.
We are not only journalists, man. We are propaganda machines, whether you are on the left or on the right. You have a hand in people's destruction or they're helping.
That's excellent. Yeah, I know you probably don't give a shit about this, but there's a writer, William Burroughs, guy who wrote Naked Lunch, and he died an excellent drug user. Like this guy was a professional drug user, died of old age, and he would teach people how to do drugs responsibly. You can get high all day and be functional. You just got to learn how to do it. But anyway, the reason I bring him up is because what you just said reminds me of something. Like you're always going to be representing. He wrote about the fact that every human being is an agent for some institution, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
So when he would meet you, he would.
See, white people, y'all have a higher tolerance because y'all have been tested on a lot and at a higher rate. And they have did like not even Agent Orange or MK Ultra. Man, it is so many drugs they have been testing on white people, but it goes underlooked because. You know, it's just like culture and whatever. But man, when Coke came out, you think they weren't pushing that shit in the white communities or white people's heads? They put it in your movies and all that shit. Yeah, they put it and they made it cool.
Oh yeah, it was a high class. It was a Wall Street drug. It was and Bernie Madoff used to send people off with 10 grand. It's like, hey, we're gonna be up all night. Go get us some cocaine so we can stay up. I mean, he admitted to that.
They push drugs on each and every last one of us, because drugs is one of the ways that you can open up people's minds and get them either out of control or in control. And a lot of heroin, LSD, crystal meth, et cetera, et cetera. If you can use this right, you can really get people to actually sell their bodies. You know what I'm saying? Like we see the concept of pimp and hoe, and you know what I'm saying? Yes, and all of this. From you and your government, we all pimps and hoes to them, and the pharmaceutical companies, you know, and we're taking their drugs, whether you are a Xanax motherfucker. They
laugh at us on recordings. They're literally laughing. Yeah. Okay. So you've talked about, you know, different types of criminality. You have like the legitimate criminality of Wall Street, and they can get away with what, I mean, they literally can do cocaine in restaurants. No one's going to call the cops on them, right? Whereas anyone on the street, that even passing out tents on the street to people that need some kind of shelter, you're suddenly a criminal, immediately criminalized, right? So I want to come back to the concept, and we could, you know, wrap our conversation up around the idea of, do you see on the streets? Because I remember after Rodney King in '91, the Crips and the Bloods established a truce in LA, saying like, we're not going to be doing our gang shit for a while. We're going to put that on timeout because we got a common enemy right now, due to the fact of what we saw in that videotape. Fred Hampton did the same thing in Chicago, right? Recruiting gang members, saying, and these are people like veterans from the military. They have experience. They can teach other people how to use certain tools, how to put together a toolkit, how to survive situations and navigate a space so that you can enter and exit without being, shall we say, without calling attention to yourself. How to use things that go boom, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So firecrackers, whatever. And people weaponize this stuff. Like in one of the ways in Latin America, for example, I won't name the country, but in Latin America, one of the ways they keep the cops away from raids at night is they literally will come out of the projects and randomly just shoot at the sky. So it sounds like a mass shooting, and the cops just like, oh, we don't want to go there. And they're not shooting anything. They're just raising noise, kind of like you're never welcomed in this neighborhood. Yeah. So they do it every night,
and
right?
We kind of do that too, you know, and it's to keep that in the rent down. But
what's your thought on that? Do you see that on the street? Do you ever encounter people?
Bloods, they have become more of a control organization. So they don't go out there like these kids and these you know, saying these gangbangers are not actually just shooting you because you are a Crip. You actually have to be an op. You have to actually be in opposition. You have to actually take one of our people for, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not like how it was.
It's not colors anymore. We're not doing colors. We're not doing this shit. Yeah.
It's money.
Yeah.
It's money.
Yeah.
And it's more of a control thing. But what I like I always tell gangbangers and all my killers, like y'all be some bad motherfuckers if you know how to aim your guns. And they always like, nigga, I know how to do this. I know. Like, no. It's not what I mean.
Yeah.
You be a bad motherfucker if you know how to aim your gun. You know how to take a body. We done did this, we done did that. You willing to go out, then make it a bang, right? You know the motherfuckers is keeping our fucking communities down. They walk through our shit. They drive through our shit to make sure it is down. And make sure and point out our houses next in the fucking chopping block to be knocked down.
They police it. The spotlights and the pies are on you all the time.
We know what banks won't give us loans. So what do we do? Are you kamikaze to only you know what I'm saying, Bloods or Crips, or are you opposition to people who are really opposition? Or are you opposition to this capitalist society who even made you a fucking Blood today? Whoever made you a fucking GD today? What do
you hear back in those conversations, in those moments? What's
motherfuckers be ready to go? Like motherfuckers be ready to go. They feel me. They feel
really.
Me. I came up. Gang banging my damn self. I've been GD damn near my whole life, but you know. That's just the city life, you know. And
no, I hear you. I mean, at the border, you were born into that shit. You can't get away from it. You're looking at, you know,
but you people. Jump in, it's damn near forever. So even though I'm a communist, I don't downplay GDs, or I don't say that, you know what I'm saying, I'm an ex-GD and shit like that. You know, no, it's sevenfold till the war blow, and that's just how it is. But, you know, I get to connect with people who are in those are on different lines, and different gangs, and try to pull them under the umbrella of communism, that you can still be a GD under communism. You can still be a Blood under communism. You can still be a Crip under communism. We are actually socializing together, like whether you know it or not. You all are doing socialist things. You are connecting with your people. You're keeping your block safe. You're shooting who needs to be shot. You're feeding who needs to be fed. We are doing things like a community, like, you know, we are socializing with each other, and even if it isn't the best way, right, it is some form of socialism.
It's organized. There's an organization at work.
Yes.
And what you're saying is that you could just tweak that, you can reconfigure that and make it shit.
I'd be like, dude, bro, we got bigger ops to take care of, bro. Don't you hate the fucking governor? Like, come on, bro. Like, you will go down for killing the nigga around the corner, but you ain't gonna go down for killing it? Come on.
And yet, that's what people did in the 70s, right? That's German terrorist cells. That's what people in the Middle East were doing. And they were not doing that as a way of trying to gain power. They were doing it as a way to defend themselves or call attention to the fact that the world was not paying attention to what Western powers are doing in their backyards, right?
I don't look at it as taking lives or doing shit like that.
Yeah. We're not promoting that.
I look at it as, you know, saving. I should say we are saving generations. We are saving nations of people. We are actually bringing awareness to what really needs to have awareness spread, and not just what you see on CNN and MSNBC. So when you are out here, you're being a revolutionary. You know what I'm saying? Even if you was to go out kamikaze style, or you was to, you know what I'm saying, just be revolutionary suicide, you will never die in a revolution. We will count it as a win, because what you have done while taking out that target, you have saved us. You know what I'm saying? You have saved this earth. You have, like, when we take out evil people, man, it's just make the world a better place.
So please correct me if I'm wrong, but what I hear you saying is that, like, you're not in favor of promoting irrational, random violence or things of this nature. What you're into is, like, we need to interrupt the ongoing catastrophe that's killing people and killing communities. And that's what you're trying to do, is interrupt the catastrophe, interrupt the ongoing disaster.
Yeah. And we need to target. We need to know our targets, because they know their targets. Like, if we was to ever get too big and get too mouthy against them, you know what happens. All right. We need to have that same fucking energy. Power to the people, all power to the fucking people.
And that's why you can't have just one leader, right? It has to be horizontal. There has to be people that can take your place immediately in case you're just not there the next day.
And you can't have people around you that's scared. Like, I'll explain this in my documentary. I basically showed the people that I have around me that will take my place in case anything happens to me and whatnot, or they will protect me by any means that the people that I trust that actually have around me while I'm building the care party. You know what I'm saying? The generals that I have and, you know what I'm saying, the co-founders that I have around me, they're going to actually be the ones who's going to, you know, take over this movement once I'm gone.
And y'all have those conversations, I'm sure, right? Like you really talk about it. Yeah, it's real.
They talk about me dying. We talk about me dying down there every day. We're just trying to prepare for it. You know, you got to prepare for the worst.
Those are tough conversations to have. I no wonder people don't want you to leave or be out on the tour for too long. Your family and your loved ones at home, but I know that you're committed to this work, and I just want to show people the, I guess, trailer to the doc.
This isn't the trailer. This is something that I leaked. It was something that they showed me that they can do. But
you mind if I play this?
No, I don't mind at all.
There should be volume to this, right, or no?
You got to go on my page. Go on my page. It's my pen tweet.
All right.
That was the one that they put up.
So they had two of them. They had the just the leaked video, and then this one that actually has audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. All right, cool. I'll share this one because I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to see what they're doing. I know they're very excited about the fact. How'd you meet up with this crew?
They actually DM'd me and was like, "Man, we love what you do. We like to get what you're doing for Tour for the Poor." And you know what I'm saying?
Is that starting to happen to you? Like you're starting to get a lot of attention from people? Like I know I reached out to you right then where they're reaching out to you. It seems like you're like, damn.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I've been having people coming out, but you know, I just really started to reach out because I didn't trust people, you know.
For good reason?
I really had to, like, if I come on your show, I trust you because there's a lot of people that I did turn down. It's a lot of people that I did pass up.
Appreciate that.
You know, I do my vetting and whatnot. So.
I was gonna ask if you vetted me. I was gonna ask, and it's like,
I'm watching everybody.
You seem like the type. You seem like that kind of thinker and strategic leader. You know, you're just not going to talk to anybody.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, is he gonna troll me, or you know what I'm saying? Let me see where you're going. All the way down to your shit.
We ain't done yet, Rum. We ain't done yet. All right, let me play this.
You know, death to capitalism, death to everything that brought us here, that pushed us here and pushed us apart. So I really mean that. And even if certain people don't see it in their heart, it's probably in their best to invest in those futures, because you see that this this message and our voices isn't dying down, even through the killing of the Black Lives Matter movements. They cannot kill what we have made. They cannot kill what we have became. They can't stop it, and they know it. You know, death to capitalism, death to everything that brought us.
Yeah, that shit cold. I love that they got my daughter running with the flag. I was like, I didn't even see her running with the fucking flag. Yeah.
So just tell us a little bit about what it's going to be about. It's just going to be about Tour for the Poor, about you specifically, about.
No, it's going to be about basically what we are doing overall. You know, Tour for the Poor, the care party. You know, it's going to have a lot of action. We actually did my first cut for Commies Cuts. I'm starting a lawn service that's going to be cutting people grass for free. You know, trying to get the community back beautiful, keep it beautiful. You know, without having a city to come out. You know, have them giving them thoughts, not gentrification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So raise the property value, but keeping it pretty without the home association coming and knocking on their door.
Yeah. We can build, like, it's about me building a movement right now. That's just the pilot, you know what I'm saying? It's just a pilot, but it's going to be a full series, and they're going to be coming back around and showing up in certain areas that I am at across America and whatnot. So it's going to be a long documentary. It might be a year or two long, but
that's fantastic, man. Congratulations. I'm glad that your work is getting that attention. Just on a final note, I'm just curious. I'm going to ask you some advice here, because I've been thinking about it. And I remember back when I was younger and graduate school at Stanford, I walked up to this one anthropologist, a Chicano anthropologist, and I didn't know the guy, I just made an appointment to talk to him because I wanted to ask him, like, did he see any revolutionary potential in the lumpen proletariat, in the criminal class? Because I was thinking about that problem back in the day in grad school, and he was like, no, you can't recruit that.
Huh?
Yeah, that was
You're
his.
not going to have a revolution without the prisons.
I trust me, I've been thinking about it a lot since, and I did not accept that answer as a final one. So the more I think about it now, and the way I see that the organizations that you're talking about, the organizations that already exist, the organizations around the world, it seems like if that demographic, if you want to call it that, could be recruited, could be convinced that it's in their best interest too,
Yes.
to distribute, and some of them already do it, but they do it for self-interest. Like, I know they won't rat me out. This neighborhood, this ghetto, this entire city won't rat me out because I give to people, right?
Not only that, prisons live like that, man. Prisons live in a communist state. They live in a moneyless state.
Yeah.
They know how to trade. They know how to, you know what I'm saying, work around certain systems that's against them, or work with the system and work in between, because they control some of these cops or these people that, right? So, you know, I always tell people, if you want a successful revolution, you're not going to get it with liberals talking about hands up, don't shoot. You have to get it by people who has already lost their life to capitalism. All you have to convince them is that they're already dead.
Rage Against the Machine, you're already dead. There's no reason not to do something about it, because you got nothing left to lose. They just don't know that.
25 years, you gave them your life.
Yeah.
You gave them your youth. Who did it? If I can give you the power to do something about it, what would you do?
And they literally profit off of those 25 years. Not only did they take them away from you, they made money off of every year, every day, every hour you were there.
Yeah.
So I know you said you can't have one without the other. Do you see things getting bad enough? Because what I've been talking about a lot is, like, I see the neoliberal paradigm, the neoliberal structure is cracking right now. It is showing its weaknesses. It's trying to double down. Biden's on his way to Buffalo, I think, literally to honor a dead police officer, not to honor the entire Black community, to honor the one police officer who was retired and got shot.
This is what happened with fascism. This is what happens when liberals usher in fascism. You know what I'm saying? This is what they wanted overall, but they just been toying with it. You know what I'm saying? They've been toying with it. So this is what they get. And they're just trying to make it seem like, oh, this isn't what we wanted. But yes, they have let in Hitler and they have let in Jim Crow Joe. And they would do it again, and they would do it again, and they would do it again. They would act like they don't know any better, because this is the Fox that Malcolm X was preaching about. You know, people acting like they don't know, but they know that they will attack you once your back is turned, and once your organizations have these liberals infiltrating it, you will never get rid of that scent, because you know the fox will leave a hell of a scent. If you ever met a fox, you know their piss isn't anything to be playing around with, but that's the same scent that these liberals will leave.
Yeah, the wolf, you know, because it looks like a wolf, but the fox is sneaky, right? I like to say it's like a conservative will confront you, but a liberal will hug you and then stab you in the back while they're hugging you. You're like, oh man.
A conservative won't even shit. I've been on the ground. A conservative would flip to communism. A liberal will fight against you.
That's interesting. Because the conservative is more interested about like material conditions of existence. If you can get them past the culture war bullshit,
leave me
start
alone.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay all these taxes for this bullshit. I want housing, I want healthcare, I want my land, leave me alone. All right, well, we can talk. Because guess what? I don't want to live in your fucking neighborhood, bro. I like the fucking city. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to live out there with a whole bunch of, you can have it. You can have it. You can have the farm and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? I have my little community garden, but you can have that big ass farm and shit. You can have the ritual areas, bro. We don't give a fuck about that. Let's talk about intersexuality, bro. Let's talk about what we need as a class. Let's talk about what we really need, because I always say, even though you are a white man, you don't need what the same things that the white man in Arizona need. The man in Arizona don't need the same things that the white man in Alabama need, right?
Yep.
Not even rights or whatever the fuck, right? All right, then. So let's really talk.
Yeah. Let's help each other.
Let's put all the bullshit and politics and shit that's gonna divide us. We talk about this shit knowing that this shit is gonna divide us. Let's talk about what we need, not how different we are from each other. Because I can just look at you and name 10 of them right now. That's the easiest thing to do. That's the easiest thing to do, is just look at you and say, you're different from me, so fuck you. But knowing that you, like, bro, we probably work at the same job and probably got laid off at the same time, and you don't even fucking know it. We still got to catch the subways together. We catch the subways together for years, and we are prejudiced. But why? We are prejudiced against each other. Why? It was these motherfuckers, the reason why you got to ride the bus with these loud ass black people. Look up, and maybe we can get something going. We can find out that bullshit later.
All right, so ground up, from the ground up. All right, Rome. I know you've had a long 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. Anything you want, any last message you want to end with, or just tell people out there? You're gonna have a variety of, I got all 50 subscribers or whatever. You're gonna have a variety of people listening in, from faculty to college students, whatever. I'm not into promoting myself, as you can probably tell, but I am into amplifying voices like RBN's. I really like the work that you're doing, so I'm really happy that you joined us. But I want you to speak freely and honestly, just like what you think needs to happen or should be happening right now, or people need to be thinking about in order to improve the conditions of our collective existence, because I think we all can agree that shit's not going well right now.
If you have a silver tongue, use it. If you have the brains to get things for your people, get them. You know what I'm saying? If you have the room to store it for your people. We have to really get shit together as a community. And when times are hard, when times really hit our communities, like we have a shortage of a formula right now, we could have been the ones out there on the front line stitching our formula, because we know that it was coming. We knew it was coming, but we sit on our fucking hands when we can be using them. So if you have the time, get your ass up.
Don't wait.
Because they ain't waiting to hurt you. That is happening all day, all around. Even when you are sleeping, they are coming up with ways to destroy your ass. So combat it. Get out here and get used to fighting. Get used to it. Get used to feeling like you are in a state of panic and emergency, because you are.
Perpetual war is already here.
And even though, it isn't war against our bodies, I say, even it is. It is. I can't even say that.
I know, because Buffalo just happened yesterday.
They fucking up all my philosophy, so just fuck it.
We can't say that, because they are taking up, they are arming themselves and walking and just mass shooting people, and they get carried.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. But these are the people that do get the nice treatment by the cops. They get escorted. They don't get shot dead.
They paying them, and they are property to the government. So of course the cops gonna fucking take care of them. They love taking care of property.
And it justifies more law enforcement, and it just goes to go round and round and round, and here we go again, right? Mass shooter, white supremacist shooter going after an impoverished black community. What's the answer? More law enforcement.
More guns in the police hands. Like, they ain't even stop that shit. You didn't stop the shit on the subway. You didn't catch the shooter.
They didn't stop it in Florida at the school. In fact, we saw him run away. that one officer that was assigned to the school in Florida when that shooting happened.
Bitch.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I ask my students all the time, like, when have you ever seen a police officer actually stop a crime in the process of the crime happening? I've never seen it. I've seen firefighters put out fires.
Yeah.
I've seen EMTs bring people back to life, but I've never seen a cop outside of a traffic violation or a parking ticket. That's it.
They be fishing out. You mean fishing out warrants? Because that shit. Under communism, no more driving tickets, no more fucking stopping people. And if we got enough technology to catch you on a camera, if you're doing something that wild, bitch, we're gonna just see you when we see you. Ain't no reason to have officers out there beating your ass. If you ain't harmed nobody, if you ain't killed nobody, ain't no reason to fucking harm or kill you.
Or risk
an officer out there with a fucking gun
shooting at someone that just stole baby formula, right? So not innocent civilians get caught in the crossfire because someone stole some basic necessities for their children.
Our police officers gonna be going after billionaires. I don't know. Our police really gonna take care of our community.
I think we are getting to the point where, based on what's happening around the country, that certain communities have to start organizing and protecting themselves and protecting their neighborhoods, because it's getting to that point now.
That's what I'm getting to now, and I'm just trying to wake people up. But we getting to that now.
Yeah. And I don't think it makes you and I the radicals. I don't think it makes us the violent people. We're just responding to what's already happening.
That's conservative. That's conservative, if anything. These thoughts and you know what I'm saying, ideas have been around for generations now. It's conservative if you think about the definition of it.
I think you're right. I mean, Malcolm X was saying 50 years ago, and self-defense is a sign of intelligence in nature. Any animal with intelligence will defend itself. So
even the weak one, even a mutt will fucking snap back at you if you kick it too many times.
Even a possum will pretend to be dead, so you just leave it alone. Yeah. So I agree with you. I'm happy to meet other people that think along these lines. I'm happy to meet people that are interested in the concept of risk and what that takes. It's not just level of engagement in terms of talking, which is what I'm doing right here, right now. But I try to do my own things, boots in the ground. And it's stuff at the end of the day that some stuff you talk about and some stuff you don't, as you know.
I feel like everybody's equal in this footing, because we all have a job in the revolution. Some people's job isn't the front line. Some people's job is to be a teacher and whatnot. But they're gonna need people to actually, if I was to die tomorrow, I would be, you know what I'm saying, happy to know that there are, you know what I'm saying, organizations and networks out there that's gonna keep me alive.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying, and teach about me and still motivate people to get out there in the damn street. So everybody is equal, and everybody has a place in this revolution, whether you're a front line, back line, computer, whatever it is. We all are equal in this revolution. So don't downplay what you are doing. You know what I'm saying? Just because you are talking on a computer, that takes, you think y'all motherfuckers ain't disappeared? You think, you know, come on now, anything that we are doing against the American government, against this American company, organization, you know what I'm saying? We are gonna be considered threats, terrorists, et cetera, et cetera. So don't downplay what you are doing, man. You are doing a hell of a job, and don't downplay how many viewers you got. It's baby steps to this shit. Sometimes I've been talking to motherfuckers. I've been talking to a camera all day when it was only one or two motherfuckers on that. You know what I'm saying? And it be like that until you actually get your word out there, and they, you know what I'm saying? So build your foundation. Make sure it's strong. Make sure them 50 people that's watching is really supporters and really are gonna push your word in case anything happens to you or your network. If you get taken down on YouTube, that they will push it back. They'll push it on Twitter that, you know what I'm saying, they are coming after independent journalists and whatnot. So yeah.
I got homies back at the border that would, I think, got my back on that front, would take over some stuff, and probably go asking some questions about who took me out. So just for the record, Rome, I do have other skill sets. Like I got 20 years of boxing and martial arts. So I could teach people self-defense, and I was in the United States Marine Corps, so I could teach people how to use firearms and things of that nature.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. You a threat. You don't think you a threat? So they look up, they be like, whoa, he ain't got PTSD?
They got a file on me because I quit on their ass after Tailhook, after they sexually assaulted all those female officers in the convention in Las Vegas. I think it was in 91. I said, like, the Marines, few of the proud, man, bullshit. You guys just basically sexually assaulted your own, like, Marines. If you're capable of doing that.
First letting women in, right?
Yeah, back in the day, yeah. So they basically had a convention.
That was a year before I was born, man. That's
you don't have to age me, bro. They made them walk the line, bro. So they got drunk and they said, like, all the women have to walk the line. So the guys lined up and basically, like, blood in, blood out. The women had to walk in the middle and the guys were groping and ripping off. And so this ended up on the cover of Time magazine. And the whole military had to take a day off for, sexual assault training and, basically how to treat women as human beings type of thing. And after that, Gulf War was over and all that. Because I didn't.
How can you teach a grown man in the military that's already fucking disciplined how to treat a woman? That's how he, like, no, it's too late.
Bro, you want to know what I said when they were done? Because everybody just wanted to get the hell out because everybody knew it was just bullshit propaganda. Like, we're just here to do this. And so being the pain in the ass that I am, as everybody was like, the commanding officer steps up on the stage and says, like, all right, that's the end. And are there any questions, whatever? And of course, everybody's like, fuck this. And I'm like, I got one. And so he's like, yes, Marine. And it's like, why are we as enlisted being, basically forced to watch these training videos about, treating women as human beings and equals when it was officers who committed those crimes? It was officers who did the assault. Yeah. You're the leaders, you're the leadership, but yet we're being compelled. Why aren't you holding yourselves responsible for what you did? Why are we being forced to engage in these trainings when it wasn't us? And I swear, Rome, he looked me straight in the eye. I'll never forget this because it's a really important moment in my life. He looked me straight in the eye and he said, Marine, image is everything. And he basically just pointed to the doors, highlighting the fact that there were camera crews waiting outside to interview him and people like him about what the military did to address this issue. And that's it was just image. They didn't give a shit if we changed or not. So all I'm saying is that, yeah, they don't care. Like you said, you can't teach a grown man. They know that, but they're still going to do the propaganda so that it looks like they're trying to address the problem, which in many ways, this happened decades ago. It's an echo chamber. The same things happen politically. Oh, we're on this. We're addressing it. Oh, healthcare. Oh, we're on this. Oh, college debt. Yeah, we're working on it. And it's always just the same lie. It's just for the image. It's just to look good, but it's never really to change the system from the core.
Hell no, because they run by capitalists, and capitalists will rape any fucking thing that they can. And I find it funny how that's how women was getting recruited, but we never saw recruitment videos of men going through that sexual harassment. Even if I know men have been sexually harassed in the military.
Yes. But they don't want to talk about that because that'll keep people from joining the military. Yes.
But man, like I always talk to people before they try to, like, I be talking to people in the hood, they be like, man, I'm thinking about joining the military. I'm like, I got a military for you, but the thing is, I can't promise you healthcare and schooling and shit like that. But nigga, we can get this shit together and have Black liberation, under our name.
And you won't have to be a slave because you're literally a slave to a system. Yeah.
And, or you won't have to go out there and kill other Black and brown people for no fucking reason, man. Like
Buffalo Soldier shit. You don't have to do that.
You have no reason to go over there. You have no, like, name one enemy you have over there in the Middle East, and I'll let you go over there.
Yeah. Who do you hate?
One.
Who did you wrong over there?
Nobody.
Exactly. 9/11, Saudi Arabia. Where do we go to war? Iraq and Afghanistan.
Right. Afghanistan. Okay, well, I think I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah, I don't think these guys were the hijackers in terms of their like that. But we can't go to Saudi Arabia.
Just like they killed their one leader, general. What was his fucking name? Oh my God, they killed him with an American gun in his fucking back. They shot him in his fucking back, man. He said these wars are fucking illegal. Are so fucking illegal. And they shot his ass right in his fucking back. And that's what they would do.
And we don't get those quotes ever. Like when Ulysses S. Grant, who was going to be the general for the North during the Civil War, during the U.S.-Mexico War, literally said, like, that's an immoral war of aggression we're committing against Mexico. This is fucked up, basically. He said it out loud. He wrote it down. So they know what they're doing. They know what this country's all about. But at the end of the day, it's not going to stop.
They're slaves. And, you know, I try to get people to not give in to the system, because it's easy to look at your life and say, man, I just want better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But bro, you got to fight. Don't give in. Like the saying of, if you can't beat them, join them. That's the
oh man, or the lesser of two evils bullshit
mindset. If you can't beat them, you train until the day that you can. You don't join a man because he's stronger than you, because he's smarter than you. You train to be better. You know what I'm saying? You train to rebel. You're not gonna join capitalists when you see that they are killing your neighborhood and you don't see a way out. So you're gonna join them and kill your neighborhood.
And how successful do you really think they're going to let you be in their club?
Shit, you're going to be next on the chopping block.
So, yeah, at the end of the day, no, you can't join them. And more importantly, to your point, it's like you cannot let them convince you that this is the only way there is. This is the only possible world we can live in.
They are human. They are human. They die from diseases and bullets, and they cry and they bleed, and they're human.
The system is composed of humans. Yeah, the system is composed of humans, and we need to remember that.
Yeah.
It's not this.
You throw a Molotov at them, they catch on fire.
Yeah, so, just like everything. And you know what's interesting? And this pisses me off from the Washington Post had a whole video when Ukraine resistance was going on during the Russian invasion of how to build a Molotov cocktail that sticks. So what you do is you build your regular Molotov and you fill it with styrofoam. And the styrofoam allows it to stick to metal. Now, isn't it interesting that when Ukrainian civilians are fighting Russians, the Washington Post will put a video of how to make a Molotov cocktail that sticks. But if Minneapolis is rebelling against the murder of George Floyd, you ain't ever going to get a how to build a Molotov cocktail for the U.S.
But that's all America is about. We have been funding America through our manufacturing, through our systems and organizations, NAFTA, Ford, Chrysler, all of them. They fund literal Nazis from back in the days to today, and this is what they want overall is white supremacy. They want capitalism because this is what made them what they are today, and they would die before they will ever give up their power.
And that's part of my argument too, Rome, that you cannot separate capitalism from white supremacy. They've always gone hand in hand.
No. Come on, like what pushed us here? What made us what we are today? What got us here? Like, come on now, and we see so many white people fighting against it. Like, if you see white people fighting against capitalism and fucking like something is wrong.
Something's not working anymore.
Yeah.
And they'll allow a few mascots into the club. That's all they are, as Malcolm X called them. They're just mascots, capitalist mascots, and that's it. Well, Rome, I don't know if you've had your final say. I don't know if I interrupted you.
Yeah. No. It was a good conversation, man. I'll just be chilling, man. I'm about to hit the hay. I'm tired as fuck. I'm actually going to get some sleep for once and take care of myself.
Take care of yourself, yeah, because we need you around. We need you around, and dying of exhaustion is not the way to go. Try to get some sleep and try to find a more productive way.
That documentation done. Then I just solidified the nonprofit from Tour for the Poor today. Actually, like 2 minutes before I get on here. So.
Wow, you're that busy. So I'm gonna hit you up just after this, just to communicate some stuff. But I really appreciate you coming. I really do appreciate you taking the time. I know you've been really busy, and I know you're really tired. But I think that your message is important. I think that your edgy politics are important to get out there to people so that they realize that there are alternatives, and there are people who are already doing this and they're doing it successfully. It's just that MSNBC is not going to follow you around, CNN is not going to follow you around, but you're starting to get this independent media that is. And I think at the end of the day, it's the independent part of all these projects that's going to make the difference. Independent from the state, independent from the system, independent from the establishment.
Because we're the ones who keep it in our households. We're the ones who raise these children to know what they know. And we got to keep the work going. We got to keep pushing. And no matter how hard it gets, never give up. And we're going to die either fighting capitalism, or are we going to die for capitalism?
Yeah.
And
Make it worthwhile. Make it worthwhile. Well, Rome, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Get some rest, and hopefully we'll talk soon, sometime in the near future.
thank you for having me, man. And, you know what I'm saying? Thank you, crowd, for being gracious, for listening to me. Y'all want to follow me? Y'all don't think I'm too crazy and whatnot?
No, please, by all means, give out your info. I put your page up just one more time. Twitter at Unholy Rome 3.
Yep.
And anything else? You got other social media?
No, that's it. Y'all take care, and just remember, you will never die in a revolution, and you always have a fight in the revolution. Don't think that you're an outcast because somebody is doing quote unquote more. There is no such thing as more. You are doing what you can.
Facts.
All power to the people.
Thank you, Ro. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too, man.
So that will do it for today's episode of the Identity Paradox. I had a really good time discussing some controversial topics with Rome. You should follow him. He is doing really good work. He is out there doing the work that a lot of people talk about but don't engage in, and he's doing it at the individual level, as you can see. And you can check out the receipts, as they say, or the documentation of his efforts and his Tour for the Poor, soon to be org, hopefully, in the near future. So please check him out on Twitter, and he has various tweets where you can find information on how to contribute and or participate in the Tour for the Poor cause that Rome has started and continues to grow. So thanks to Rome for joining us. Thank you. As always, stay frosty, watch your six, y hasta luego. Oh, and don't forget to please subscribe to future episodes if you enjoyed today's. Thanks.